but the dates are June 12th through the 15th. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we are hoping to get about 500 people, 500 brothers. So that's a tall task. But we did this for the 125th, 25 years ago. We had 409 at that time. We had 389 that actually played golf that day. 409 people that showed up for the weekend. We're much better connected. I think our base is even a little bit bigger. So 500 is doable. That's our goal. In order to get there, we got to get every last living, breathing Sigma Chi in attendance. And that's where I need some help and some little evangelization from you guys that I'll talk about in a little bit. But this isn't a reunion. We all have class reunions. We have great events. Since we did the 125th, there's been a lot of memorable events at Sigma Chi's where we recognize significant SIGs and we've done mortgage burnings and all that sort of thing. This is a little different. This is just brothers, and I know that can be a bit of an issue, but I think it's important for what we're trying to do with this. Our golf outing has always been sort of just a brothers event. The 125th was the same way. But what we want to do is create an atmosphere where we all go back and the nostalgia comes back, you share stories, you relive when you were 19, 20, 21 years old, and then all the years since. So that's sort of the environment that we're trying to create. I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do. We've got plenty of events and things going on over the course of those 4 days, but mostly we just want to get guys together and share stories and friendships. We're gonna. Our theme is sort of brotherhood and our shared common experience. It's truly remarkable. I was thinking today. So I was here yesterday. I've been here for a couple days. I'm playing golf today with some guys, and we'll be here for a couple more days. Over the course of these 3 or 4 days, I'm going to see 40 or 50 Sigma Chi's, most of whom I feel like I know pretty well. There's not a single one of those that lived in the house during the time I lived in the house. There's nobody within 3 years behind me or 3 years above me that I'm going to see. But I consider these to all be really close friends. A lot of people in this room, some of my closest friends. Now I see my Pledge brothers. I've talked or texted with probably a dozen of them the last week. But that's a unique thing, that over the years I've gotten to know people from so many different decades and different generations or whatever. And I know, I'm probably a little biased, but what we have at Delta Delta, I do think is truly unique, and I have people, I have friends that are Fijis and different fraternities from Purdue that express that to me, the Sigma Chi's, it's just different, which, it's a great thing. So we're going to celebrate that. We're going to try to get everybody there. I want to go through the schedule of events just a little bit. We're trying to get people to come in. When we did it for the 125th, we probably started more Friday morning. When you do that, a lot of people, especially if you're just coming up from Indianapolis, may shoot for later in the day Friday. So this year, what we're doing is trying to get people to come in about noon on Thursday, so that we can kind of get people there and have at least a couple days together. So we're hoping people will start Thursday around noon or so. We've got some activities. We've already got the Boilermaker Special reserved. We're going to do guided tours Thursday, Friday during the day. Thursday afternoon, we're going to have a cocktail party at the chapter house. I am in discussions with the athletic department. Been talking to them the last couple days. For the cocktail party, we're going to have a big name athletic department speaker. I'm hoping it's going to be Matt Painter. That's who we've asked for. They're trying to work out those details. If not, likely to be the football coach. We sort of want to celebrate that Thursday cocktail party, sort of our tradition, our athletic tradition at Sigma Chi. So hopefully we'll have, these people are not all committed, but our famous quarterbacks, as many of those as possible. Hopefully we can get Mr. Breeze to attend. But we'll sort of celebrate, and then also hoping to get some other athletic department people that'll come in and be there for the cocktail party, the athletic director, a few folks like that. Thursday night, we're going to do pledge class dinners, where hopefully we've got reservations at various restaurants. The pledge classes will go off on their own for kind of a Thursday night dinner with your 10 or 12 or 15 guys. And then that evening, we've got the Walk-Ons, which is a new sort of restaurant bar that's in the basement of the Union. We're going to have that reserved for everybody to come back to afterwards Thursday night. Friday, we've got activities during the day, probably start in the morning with some sort of ritual ceremony for people at the house, hopefully early in the morning. And then there's going to be various presentations, probably a handful of them that people want to attend during the day. Probably an update from the undergraduate chapter. We're talking about maybe a presentation, Mark Carlson, Keith Kroc on the Kroc Institute, some of the things they're doing. And then also looking at some other things perhaps with the university on sort of the role of fraternities going forward, 150 years and beyond. Some of those things during the day. We expect to have a pickleball event set up, a tournament that we're going to do at some point Friday for those that want to participate in that. And we'll have tours again all day Friday, just like Thursday, for people that haven't been back to campus and get around, and it'll be a tour on the Boilermaker Special. Friday night, we're going to go to the Union, very similar to what we did 25 years ago. We've got a big formal dinner at the Union. We've got that all reserved, both ballrooms for 500 people. We'll have a cocktail party, again, a big name speaker. Hopefully, Mitch Daniels and or Mung will be our speakers for that. Mark Carlson is working on trying to get that set up for us. And then Friday night, we're going to have Harry's reserved to be able to go to Harry's afterwards. Saturday, get up, we'll be at the chapter house in the morning. We'll want to take a picture like we did before of everybody in attendance. There'll be a continental breakfast or a breakfast at the chapter house, opportunity to congregate, and then we'll go out to the golf courses for golf, probably tee off around 1:30. Steve Kosler has been very helpful. As we know, the golf course now has his name on it, and so he's able to work with Purdue to get us a very, very good deal. So we should all be appreciative to Steve for that. We imagine this time we're going to have a bigger contingent of non-golfers. So we hope to be able to go out, have our lunch at the golf course for everybody. Those that are playing golf will tee off. And then we would imagine we'll have probably over 100 people not wanting to golf. So we've arranged with the athletic department. They're going to do some really neat behind-the-scenes tours. I don't know if people in this room have done it, but like tours of Mackey Arena to get down into the locker rooms, and there's just a lot to see. Football complex, but the athletic facilities that they'll be able to take a large group through and do all that for those people not playing golf Saturday afternoon. And then Saturday night, we'll go back to the chapter house. We'll have a tent on the yard to do a dinner on the yard, very similar to what we did last time. And then the class of the late 90s, apparently they had a house band. We never had a house band when I was there. I don't think we had anybody with any musical ability, but they had a band, and they're putting the band back together. So they're going to be playing at the chapter house. I don't know what this is, class. It's around the Drew Brees there. It's probably late 90s or something like that. So those guys are getting back together, and they're going to play, which I think would be fun. Saturday night at the house. That will be going on. And then basically, it's mostly over at that point. The next day is Father's Day, which is a bit of a scheduling glitch, but we had to do it. That's the only way this is the only weekend that Purdue could really accommodate. But basically, Sunday morning, people just get up and head back home. We do have one thing that I think is super cool that we've arranged. So Joe Noonan is a pledge class ahead of me. He's a Catholic priest in the Archdiocese of Chicago. And many of you probably know Jim Rush, who's a deacon in the Catholic Church locally in Lafayette. And they've arranged for Joe to celebrate Mass at the cathedral Sunday morning. And Jim Rush is going to be the deacon. So for those Catholics, I think that's a pretty cool thing. I will certainly be there. So I think that's kind of neat and cool. cool. So that's kind of the schedule. We are going to be rolling out, hopefully you've gotten the notes already about room blocks and how many people have a room reserved already? So it's a good start. RL? All right. We so far we do have we have room blocks at 6 different hotels. The Union one is the only one that's sold out, although Harold said in his block there might be an extra spot or two. We got a very good price. If you've tried to stay at the Union, the prices there can be insane. Recently, a lot of game day weekends they're asking $400 or $500 or something like that. We got a price I think of $179. That has mostly generally sold out, but we've got 5 other hotels, a couple of them within walking distance that still have availability. So there's still plenty of rooms available. We have commitments already from I think 20 of our significant SIGs. We've only had one say no. We haven't confirmed with everybody, but we've got a good start on that. Bob Burles is working on contacting all of those folks, so it does look like we've got a little bit of momentum. We are putting together a website that's in the works and a portal. We hope to have that completed in the next couple weeks so that we can actually sign people up and do all the registrations. It's all going to be done online. All the payments are going to be online. We did 25 years ago. People mailed me checks, and that's thankfully not going to happen again. That'll simplify things greatly. So all of that, we should be ready to go in the next 30 days where you can get online. We still don't know the exact cost. We want to make it very affordable for everyone. It's probably going to be a $200, $250 price range, which, we want to make it affordable, especially for the younger guys. We want everybody to be able to get there. That's not going to cover it. We're probably going to need significant, additional monies. We've got sponsorship opportunities. That's a place where people can help us with donations, particularly some of us maybe that are a little farther in our careers. We might be able to make some contributions because it is going to take some cash to get this done, but we want to keep it affordable for the undergraduates and all that. So there will be some opportunities there, so we could really use some help financially with that to make sure we can cover all these costs. Where else I need your help? Each class, we're going to have a pledge class leader. It's basically responsible for getting your class there. We don't know every person, but the head of the pledge class, whoever it is that knows everybody, that's got all the contact, that can twist arms and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have one for each class working on sort of recruitment. And the one thing I'm saying is, we've all got in our class that core group of guys that comes to everything. Well, they'll be there. We got to make sure the guys that we haven't seen in 15 or 20 years, or maybe since school, that somebody gets to them, because that's what's really fun, seeing a lot of those guys that maybe haven't had contact with. So that's another area where we could certainly use some help. So that's kind of the overview. We can eat. All right. Thank you.